Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another segment of Straight Talk with Grover Thornton. This show is produced by Mr. Julius Hall, and the name of the show is Our Black Media. We have tonight, gentlemen is not here, but ladies who are judges, and they'll be running for office May 21st. I wanted them to hear you and to tell you their position on certain issues, and hoping that they'll be successful in their endeavor. The first person on my show tonight is Judge Katie Brewington. Welcome to the show, Ms. Brewington.
Well, thank you, Grover.
I'm glad to have you here tonight.
I'm glad to be here.
And I want you to just tell us, first place, something about you. We'd like to know your background and stuff that we'd like to know about you.
Absolutely. So I am originally from South Dakota. I have kind of lived everywhere, but I did go to college in South Dakota. I went to North Carolina after that, where I became a probation officer. As a probation officer, that's what got me interested in the law. So I went to Florida and I attended Florida Coastal University. And then my husband and I came to Savannah in 2012, where we opened the Brewington Law Firm.
Oh, so you already had a law firm?
So we opened it pretty quickly after I graduated and passed the bar. Yes, sir.
Oh, that's good. Good question. Answer, really. But let me ask you this. Tell me why you're interested in being a judge in the first place. What motivated you to want to be a judge?
Absolutely. So I have a lot of different experience. For the past 12 years, I have done criminal defense. I have worked with mostly underprivileged and lower income clients. I have also been a solicitor, and I am now a municipal court judge. And so between being a probation officer and then working on both sides, both prosecution and defense, and now ultimately being trusted as a municipal court judge, I think it's a natural progression to want to run for office and to become the next magistrate court judge, because it's a good way to serve my community with the experience that I have.
So you're already a judge now, right?
Absolutely, I am.
In Pooler?
I sit in Pooler, and I also sit in a recorder's court.
So in other words, you're in the recorder's court every month, or when you have to take over someone?
So I say, Mr. Thornton, I say, have gavel will travel. If a judge calls and says that they want me, I will show up.
Oh, that's very good. Okay, so you really stand on standby?
Yes, yes.
Already good. Now, what really want to make you a judge to get involved with, and what would impact the citizens of the community?
So it's a very impactful position, because you have a lot of power when you hold office and you're a judge. There's decisions that you're making that will highly affect the people that come in front of you. For magistrate court, on the civil side, they do small claims up to $15,000 and landlord-tenant law. So you ultimately may be evicting somebody from their home. They're also on the criminal side, do pre-warrant hearings and good behavior bonds. So I may make a decision that sends somebody to jail, and it may be bondable, it may not be bondable. And so that's a great thing to have with the right person. If you have the right person in the position that makes sure that the process is always fair, and that makes sure that the equal justice is served throughout their courtroom, then that's ultimately what I want to do, is to make sure that people come into my courtroom, they're treated fairly, they have the information that they need, and the process is fair for everybody.
Well, that's good to have you say about a judge being fair. and the judges being equal. Like you and I were talking the other day, I told you, I don't disrespect any individual who's a judge. Don't misunderstand my position, but I just find it difficult for me to really accept a minister being a judge. And what's your view on that? I told you what my view was, that because it represents Christ, and Christ was totally compassionate, totally forgiving. So that's where my personal position on that. But what do you think about that type of position?
I don't want to say that one person isn't qualified or another, but what I will say is I agree with you that a judge needs to have compassion. I think without compassion, you're going to take your power and you are going to and you're going to not do good things with it. You have to have compassion. You have to be relatable. You have to understand where people are coming from. If you don't have that, then you are not going to do a good job where you're at. So whether or not you have a different position or not, I just think that you want qualified people in the position.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ms. Burrington, let me ask you this. When you look at the position that you want to achieve,
Yes, sir.
and that is the magistrate court, right?
Yes.
Tell us, what are some of the responsibilities of a magistrate court? We have municipal court, the magistrate court, superior court, ordinary court. So what's your job duties in that you're seeking to get?
Absolutely. So as a magistrate court judge, you're going to do those landlord-tenant cases. You're going to do those small claims cases. And you are going to listen to pre-warrant hearings and make a decision if somebody should be charged with a crime or not. Now, in magistrate court, it kind of stands different than other courts in that it's known as the people's court, because it's the one court you can come into and you really don't need an attorney. And so you need somebody with a lot of experience on the bench, a lot of compassion on the bench, and somebody that understands people and can treat people right and treat people fairly. That's what you need in that position, because a lot of people are coming in and they don't understand the process, and they may be in court for the very first time. They don't even know if they're supposed to sit on the left or the right side of the room. And so that the magistrate court judge really needs to make sure that the courtroom is open and available and safe and equal for everybody, because there's not necessarily always an attorney that's going to be representing each party.
Mm-hmm. Now, as you look at this position, let me ask you this question. Have you sought in your mind some changes that need to be put into place in the position that you're trying to achieve?
So I do. I think that the judges there right now have been there for a long time, and they're very experienced and they're very good judges, but I think maybe they've been there a long time. And so they don't remember sometimes that people don't understand the process. They've seen an eviction 7,000 times, but they don't know that Mr. Smith that's coming in has never been in court before. And so I think that that's number one, is that you need somebody in there that really helps the people.
Okay, now, there's a movement. It hasn't generated a lot of discussion yet, but I've been listening for it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that is they're asking like members of the Supreme Court, for instance. Now, see, you're an attorney and you're a judge. But see, when you move into a higher court and you're involved in a political party, you don't know, you may get chosen to be a judge on the state level. I mean, that's where it starts from a judge working in an office.
Absolutely.
As an attorney. So, but there's a movement, they want to have all the judges in the Supreme Court to retire at a certain age. What's your thinking? They're appointed for life by the Constitution. And
Yes.
they ought to get that change. I think you'll have to go to 3/4 of the states. The Congress passed a law in 3/4 of the states. We'll have to approve that, because they say the Constitution on the Section 3 of the Constitution, I think it's Section 3, that they're appointed for life. So you have to amend that particular article. in the Constitution. If you go to say they retire at such a place, just like the Constitution tells the president, a person that wants to seek the presidency, that they have to be 35 years old. So what's your view on that?
So I don't think that there should be a strict line like 60, 70, 75. I think that you're a good example of somebody who is in a older generation but still has great things to offer, and so there's going to be judges and they're in the same space. So I think as long as you can do your job, then there shouldn't be a hard line for an age, because there can be 40-year-old judges that are terrible and 90-year-old judges that are fantastic. I think it's how you are running your courtroom that should matter if you should stay or you should go.
At least you gave me a compliment about old. Well, I thank God for that. I'm going on 90 years old, so you gave me a compliment. I thank God for that. I'm still in control of my faculties. But the reason why I ask you that, because there is a movement because of the abortion situation going into the nation right now. Now, let me ask you this question. So tell me what you'd like to see change in that, because you gave me the prescription of what goes on.
Mm-hmm.
But tell me what you'd like to see change. Is there anything you'd like to see change? You told me like you were going to be compassionate,
Mm-hmm.
and you told me that about the age problem, because like you say, somebody could be 40 years old and more effective than one who is 70. So I can see that. But what changes would you like to, if you were elected, you would like to make in that position?
I think I really need to get into the position to be able to fully answer that question. And I can definitely say that I think that there needs to be more compassion and more understanding of people. I think that's the number one change. But I really would need to get to work and see what's working and what's not in order to fully answer that question.
Implement things that you'd like to see.
Absolutely.
Have you had any kind of experience that would say, I would like to be a judge? Something that might have motivated you to want to become a judge?
I think that just my helping people has motivated me. I have, I spoke with the group earlier today. I never really was pushed to go to college. I was never pushed to go to law school. I just I was the first one in my family to do those things.
Well.
And so I think I'm a self-motivated person.
That's good.
In order to do that and open my own business. And then I think I really got inspired by my clients, because I work in criminal defense. My clients can be speeders, they can be murderers, and everything in between, but they're people, and they deserve somebody to be on their side. They deserve somebody to explain the process to them, make sure there's mitigating factors, and make sure that their rights are protected. And so that's when it inspires me, because ultimately, if you're on the bench, you get to do that in a broader aspect.
Now, another thing that I wanted to ask you, I'll ask you when we're going to take a short break for a few moments.
Absolutely.
And then I'll come right back to my question.
Okay. Hi, I'm Katie Brewington, and I'm running for Magistrate Court Judge. Magistrate Court is often called the People's Court because people represent themselves or are pro se litigants. Magistrate Court handles civil claims up to $15,000, dispossessory proceedings, pre-warrant applications, and good behavior bonds. I'm a great candidate for judge because I have the experience, compassion, and drive to get the job done. I have been a probation officer, a criminal defense attorney, a solicitor, and a municipal court judge, and I will take all of that experience to get the job done. So remember, vote Katie Brewington, May 21st, for Magistrate.
I'm talking to her on the phone.
There you go.
All right, we're back. Thank you. Back with our guest, Ms. Brewington. I'm really enjoying talking with you. You're really
I'm enjoying
impressing
it as well.
the people. And now what I want to ask you this, what's your view on bail let me ask you that. I am asking you that because so many people in jail and they cannot afford bail.
Mhm.
I'm not talking about no person who has committed heinous crimes. They don't need any bail. But just ordinary people, sometimes the bail is too high. And you already said you recognize the fact that you have to deal with people who cannot afford to a lawyer who cannot. I'm glad they do have the lawyer with Supreme Court rule that a person must have legal counsel
Absolutely.
in the court. What's your view on that?
So I do. I represent a lot of low income clients. And so they are the very clients that can't pay for high bonds. And so I sit in recorder's court and I do arraignments. And in magistrate court, I will be doing arraignments and bond hearings, especially with drug cases.
So what happens when a person does not have the money for drugs,
So
for a bail?
So I think that's where you can become creative. It doesn't always need to be a monetary thing. There's two things that you need to look at when you're setting bond for somebody. Are they a flight risk? Meaning, are they going to come to court?
Yeah, I understand that.
And then number two, are they a danger to themselves or society? And so you can put things in place like drug and alcohol assessments and domestic violence classes and things other than just saying you need to pay cash to get out in order to get that dollar a little bit lower so people can afford it. I think that it's great that there is a movement that these lesser misdemeanors shouldn't have cash bail, because ultimately I think that it is a system that benefits the rich, and so it does need to be revised.
Mm-hmm. Another question that I gave great thought to last year, we're talking about dealing with persons apprehended for crime and those that have been outright arrested, and that is in Jacksonville.
Uh-huh.
You can think about this, maybe introducing this into the system, because I wondered why they don't do this. I've spoken to one or two police officers that are friends of mine. And that is, I was listening to television last year, and in Jacksonville, they had a program like this. And if they arrested a person, they immediately had them tested to see whether they have a mental problem.
Interesting.
Now, what, ma'am?
That's interesting.
Yes, because a lot of these people are being arrested do have mental problems. Now that's what I heard on the TV. That's what they do. They arrange a person to be tested by psychologists, psychiatrists, or whatever, and then they move forward from there. So what's your view on that if you had that to do?
I believe that is one of the things that fails in our system is the caring of people with mental health issues, because a lot of times they can't be taken anywhere else but jail is what the normal thinking is. And so you might have somebody sleeping in the park because they have nowhere else to go and they get a criminal trespass, or urinating in public and because they didn't have anywhere to go. And I think that it's definitely a part of the system that's broken. Our mental health clients are not being taken care of the way that they should be. What's good in Chatham County is we do have a court-appointed attorney that specializes in mental health. And what I can do from the bench is just ensure that if I think that somebody does have that issue and doesn't understand the process, that we see if we can look at different avenues to make sure that they still get a fair shake.
So that was you telling me that you'll be able then to recommend that this person we test it and then bring that individual back before we do any legal problems.
Well, I don't know necessarily that as a magistrate court judge that would be.
Can you recommend?
That would be within my power. A lot of times that would be a defense attorney. So, that's a hard one to answer because you can't prejudge a case.
Yeah, that's true.
And so you need to look at the different factors for that case. And so for me to answer that just sitting here, it's kind of hard.
So if we make a comparison with Jacksonville and Atlanta and Savannah, that would solve a lot of the problems, because the person has a mental problem, bipolar, whatever like that, then the person going to get the treatment. Then once they get the treatment, then it can be referred back to the judicial system.
Yes, I think that we need to do that more. I have a federal client right now. He's charged with 2 federal arson charges and
Arson?
arson. He burned down a house.
Oh my gosh.
And ultimately, I think that he may have had some issues at the time. And so as a defense attorney, I always have to make sure that I get them the appropriate evaluations so I can ensure that they are getting they're being taken care of and that their rights are not being inflicted upon.
Oh, very good, very good. Well, I see our time is almost up, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to speak to the public here about your abilities and your desire, and ask them for support and what you would do. You already told the people in the community some of the things you would do. So I'm going to just let you say what you want to say for these last 5 minutes or so.
Okay, thank you. So, like I said, I have about 12 years of experience. I have worked, especially with magistrate court, I have worked the last 6 years. I have had a contract with the city of Savannah that I represent all of the low-income clients that come through and have arrest warrants pending against them. And so I go and I have their preliminary hearings, and the judge determines if there's probable cause for them to be arrested or not. One of the reasons that I want to be the next magistrate court judge is because I very much understand that an arrest is not just somebody being arrested, taken through the back door, taken to Chatham County jail, bonding out, and then that's it. There's a lot of repercussions that can happen. And so my decision as a judge to say, yes, there is probable cause or not is very important to get right. It's very important to get right because people can lose their jobs, they can lose their homes, they can lose their food stamps, they can lose all kinds of things just by having just the arrest, not let alone if they're found guilty or not. So I want to make sure that I take that experience to magistrate court. The other thing that I have done a lot is I've done a lot of federal cases. And so I'm a trial judge. I'm in court every single week. I am having a bond hearing. I'm having a bench trial. I'm having a preliminary hearing. I'm having my next federal jury trial in 2 weeks. This will be my 4th federal jury trial. There's attorneys that work 20, 30 years and never have one jury trial in federal court. The reason that I've had so many is because I've been entrusted by the judges. The judges will look at a case. I had a federal murder trial last year, and the case had been around for about 5 years. And they had determined that the representation that he had wasn't really working out. And so among the judges in federal court, they came up with names on who they thought should represent this person and had the ability to take it to a jury trial in 60 days. And they called me, Mr. Thornton, and they said, would you and could you take this case? And I didn't really think that was a question. I think that was a tell you type of situation. And I said, want can be a very interesting 4-letter word. And so I said, well, I don't know that I want it, but I will take it because it's nice to know that the judges do trust me.
Yeah, they do trust you, that you make good judgments.
Yeah. And I've now been trusted to become a municipal court judge. And, I don't take that lightly because I do make important decisions that affect people's daily lives. And so I want to make sure that I take that trust from our community and that I do the absolute best that I can. There's 2 things that I really, really also think judges should do. I think a judge should never think that they're the smartest person in the room. I think that there is a lot of gray area in the law. And if I ever have a question or I'm not entirely sure how to rule on a case, I have no problem going to other people. You have Ms. Harmon coming on next. I have no problem calling her or Judge Huffman or many other people that I have created in my circle that can help me. The second thing that I think is very important when you become a judge is that you reach down and you help other people come up.
Yeah, that's good thinking.
Yes, because if you're not helping the next generation, then you're really just not doing your job. My job is to help my clients right now, but my job is also to make sure that we have the best people, making sure that the system is the best that it can be, because it hasn't always traditionally been equal for everybody. And so we can strive to make it more equal for people.
Well, let me ask you this while we're waiting for the timekeeper. Do you think that there's enough revenue for this job?
Well, are you asking me, am I going to get paid enough, or does it make enough money? Which one are you asking me?
So you think the judges get paid enough money for what they do?
I think they do. I think they make a decent salary, and and I think that it is good. I also think that the justice system is a business, and there is revenue through all parts of the justice system. And yes, it is a big business, and there's a lot of money to be made by different people. I've never been that person that just wants to make money. That's why I have consistently worked with the clients that I have, because I want to make sure that everybody gets somebody that's good and somebody that's going to take the time to really look at their case and really defend them the way that they need to.
Do you think 4 years is enough for the judge, or you think the time should be increased? Some countries, judges serve 6 years.
I think 4 years is a good time to know if that person is doing a good job or not. And so it gives the public, I want to be a very open and honest judge. I tell people, if you want to come and see the judge I'm going to be, then come and see the judge I am now. You can get on my website, brewingtonforjudge.com. It'll give you my phone number. It's 912-704-0858. Call me and I will tell you where I'm sitting, because the judge I am today will be the judge that I will be if I'm elected May 21st.
Okay. And campaigning is a hard job, because
Absolutely.
I ran for office one time. You and I were talking the other day in my office. But I want to say this to you. I hope you much success in your endeavor, because we do need very good judges. We don't need judges who are prejudiced. We need justice. And you have explained that to me and to my audience, that you care about justice for everybody.
Absolutely.
So, Ms. Burton, I wish you very well on your campaign, and
Thank you.
much success. It has been a pleasure to talk with you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure as
and
well.
I hope that you have impressed the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you very kindly. Now we're going for a little break for a few moments.
Transformative. That's what Sonia Jackson is. Creative. That's what Sonia Jackson is. Compassionate. That's what Sonia Jackson is. Leadership. That's what Sonia Jackson demonstrates. Dedicated. That's what Sonia Jackson is. In Chatham County, there's never been a tax commissioner like Sonia Jackson. She has made the office more accessible, more consistent, more convenient, and more service-friendly. Let's keep Sonia Jackson while she takes the tax commissioner's office to new heights. On May 21st, cast your vote for a great public servant. Vote Sonia Jackson for tax.
Hello, I'm Richard Coleman, and I'm running for the office of Sheriff of Chatham County. And when I'm elected, I promise to inspect what I expect. Chatham County, it's time for a change, and that change is me, Richard Coleman.
Amen.
You're on.
We're doing this.
You're on.
We're back again, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope that you enjoyed listening to Mrs. Brewington. So we have another guest here tonight, the gentleman, Mr. Richard Coleman.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to
Thank you.
Straight Talk, Mr. Coleman. Good to see
sir.
you.
My pleasure. My pleasure to be here with you, Mr.
And I'm happy to see you. Let me ask you this: how's your father doing? I know he was in the hospital.
He's recovering and resting. He's doing well. He had a day procedure yesterday.
Good.
And I just want to thank everybody for all the love and support that was shown and given to the family.
You understand? I understand he was a coach at one of the high schools, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's at Johnson High School.
Oh, Johnson High School. For how many years?
50 years.
How many?
50 years.
50?
50 years.
Oh man, that's a long time to be a coach.
Yes.
He has had a lot of influence on a lot of young men.
Yes.
Your dad and I, we served together on the Ralph R. Gilbert Civil Rights Museum
Yes,
for
sir.
a few years.
Yes, sir.
Fine gentleman. Enjoyed
Thank
working
you.
with him.
Thank you.
And never
Thank
knew
you.
you before, but the chip don't fall far from the block.
Thank
That's what
you.
it is.
Thank you so much.
I'm
Thank
happy
you
to
so
have you
much.
here tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank
Now
you.
you're running for the job as sheriff.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Now you'll be the first African American sheriff. Let me
Yes.
say this, ladies and gentlemen. We've had 4 fine gentlemen. You'll be the 4th one
Yes.
running for this office. And that's the only office here in Chatham County we have not been able
The only
to
one.
break the glass on. We've had mayors, we had representatives, we had county commissioners, we had chairman county commissioner, we had mayors, and we've had representatives, all of that. But we have never been able to elect a sheriff.
Yes.
Now, I do know we had Mr. Williams back there doing the 60s.
Right.
Mr. Sam Williams, he's deceased now, a very good friend. He ran for sheriff. And then we had Mr. Holmes.
Right.
We had Mr. Mike Jones.
Mr. Mike Jones. That's
All
right.
these are fine men,
Yes.
and yourself.
Yes. Thank you.
So you're very confident that you're going to break the ice,
absolutely.
like Ms.
Absolutely.
Clinton did. Suppose have broken the ice
Yes, sir.
as the first woman president of the United States. So I'm happy to have you here tonight, sir. But let us start questioning you
Yes.
about what you like to do and your position, and hopefully you will be successful.
Thank
Just
you.
tell us the first thing. Let's just tell us about yourself.
Oh,
Everything you would tell us about yourself, why you wanted to be the sheriff and what motivated you, whatever. Go ahead and talk to them. They're listening to you.
okay. Well, my name is Richard Coleman.
Yeah.
I come from 2 prominent family members, my mother and my father, here in the Savannah
Talk a
community.
little louder.
Here in the Savannah community. I'm a 30-year Georgia certified peace officer. I'm a former chief of police, assistant chief of police,
And where was that?
chief of internal affairs. I was chief of police first in Thunderbolt. I was the first black chief of police for the
Oh,
city
okay.
of Thunderbolt. Yes, and then I went on to a city called Arlington, Georgia, where I became the chief there. And I moved back closer as my parents' health started failing just a little bit to get just a tad bit closer. I went to a city called Davisboro, Georgia.
So you really have a lot of experience with your job.
Absolutely.
Now
Yes.
tell us what motivated you to want to be a sheriff in the first beginning
Well, it's-
into law enforcement.
it's about in the beginning for policing, it was just about connecting with the community. I was always a community person, and I was always a person that was out in the neighborhood. I was a friendly person. I was about my people, about my community.
You got to speak up now. We can hear you good.
Okay, yes, sir. It was just about connecting with the community and serving the community in my profession, and if I was very effective at an early age in my profession, serving the community, why not shoot for the stars? Why not shoot for the highest seat in the county that's in my profession, which is the sheriff's office?
Which is the sheriff.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you this then, sir. Have you thought of some of the things that let us know what some of the things you would like to do to improve? Are you satisfied? First, let me ask you this. Are you satisfied with the current sheriff? Are you willing to change things that you see need to be changed?
No.
Or you got some things you like to do to improve that organization or what?
There are a lot of things I would like to improve. Number one is staffing. A news report came out and said there's about 115 deputies short staffing. And when you have short oversight,
So we have 150
115.
vacancies right here in
Right. The last report that I received. Now, from an inside source, I hear that my numbers are much higher than that. But for what was reported, even if we say 115, that's still a considerable amount of shortage, which causes problems internally when it comes to oversight. So, individuals who are incarcerated, they have to be watched. They have to meet certain deadlines,
Yeah.
Within the structure itself. And so, we've got to fix that oversight.
Okay, let
Deputies
me,
are working 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. And that's just too much of any human body.
so in other words, we have a shortage. So
Yes,
has that been brought to the attention of the county?
absolutely. absolutely.
And what is this position?
From the news article I read, it's just a matter of them trying to get out and promote the sheriff, promote the business, promote the profession. Obviously, I don't think they've been very successful in doing that. I understand individuals are going on their lunch breaks and not coming back. So it's not been a real good, a popular choice, should I say, to work at the sheriff's office right now. And I'm thinking that someone who's more connected, who's more informed, who deals with the people more, who they trust more, could come in and actually fill those positions. Right now, I have 247 names of people who are ready to come to work with me when I'm elected to fill those positions.
So you mean to tell me right here in Chatham County we have such a shortage as that?
Yes, absolutely.
So, well, tell me then, what are some of the things you would do to improve that position if you are looking to break that glass?
Also, you have to look at right now, the Chatham County Sheriff's Office is the leading provider for mental health in the Southeast region of Georgia. That shouldn't be so.
Say that again now.
They're the leading provider for mental health in the Southeast region of Georgia. That shouldn't be so.
So we don't have, you're telling us that with the way I'm interpreting what you're saying, that these clients are not getting
25 to 30% of that jail population is mental health.
so
Right.
but there's no program to analyze these people, get them tested for mental
Right.
problems.
They don't need
Is
jail.
that one of your objectives if you're elected?
Yes.
Now, you know, I was just talking to Ms. Bruin just left here, and she was saying the same thing about, and I was telling her about
Yes.
the program in Jacksonville, the police department, and this is what I heard on TV about last year.
Yes.
When they arrest a person, they immediately, as quick as possible, get that person tested, analyzed for mental
Right.
problems. Because most of the time, in my judgment, I may be wrong, a lot of these people are in jail because of mental problems.
Right.
Now, you said such a shortage that we have. What would you do to improve that
Well,
with a person with the mental problems?
well, these people need help. They need treatment, not incarceration. So what we've got to do is come up with diversionary programs, whereas if these people are evaluated on scene, and if we know that they're dealing with some type of mental health issue, then we get them to the proper treatment places and resources necessary versus taking them to jail and arresting them and locking them up. What you have, if you find a person who's incarcerated for mental health, what you have is 3 charges. You're going to either have disorderly conduct, lottery and prowling, or criminal trespass. These are simple charges that happen every day because officers just don't want to deal with these individuals when they get a call for service on them. So they give them these 3 charges, they place them in jail, and then let the taxpayers pay for them. We don't want to do that. We don't want to burden our budget putting all our on the taxpayer citizen, keeping people incarcerated when incarceration is not what they need. What they need is help. What they need is treatment. Mental health is an illness. It's not a crime.
So tell us then, it's good to hear you mention that. And I was surprised to know from you that that's not going on as far as treatment for these people. But I was telling you what I heard they do in Jacksonville on the television.
Yes.
When they arrest a person, as quickly as possible, they get them tested,
Evaluated. Yes.
evaluated, and
Yes.
tested
Yes.
for mental conditions.
Right. Yes.
And then they refer them to
right to the
and,
proper
what-
resources.
and once they are able to stand trial for what they've done.
Yes.
But sometimes they do things that, by judgment, they don't know they did them
Right.
because of the mental problem.
That's right. Correct.
And that's another problem.
Yes, that is correct.
So that's another problem. So tell me then, what really motivated you to want to be in the sheriff business anyway?
Well, it's just being in law enforcement altogether. Law enforcement is
So,
always.
Being
When I
your-
was young, I was very fortunate to always have a focus of what I wanted to be.
Oh, that's good. You
Yes.
want to be a sheriff.
I wanted to be the
Well,
sheriff.
that's a very good objective that you decide to want to do. So so when you say to me, talk about the middle of situation, you would try to improve the situation, but when a person is arrested, you want to make sure we have something in place
Yes.
that they will be
Yes.
evaluated.
Yes,
That's your
that is-
first
that-
objective
that's
you
the
like to
first-
do.
That is the first objective.
And I believe you said you would like to increase the staff.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you this. In your judgment, then tell me, how can they run a effective jail if you don't have the necessary staff?
Well, that's a good question, and I think that's an answer for the current sheriff because they don't have proper staffing right now, and I don't think things are being ran effective as they should be, from what I'm understanding.
Okay, and let me ask you this then. Do you believe a sheriff should stay in office any certain length of time or over and over and over? I think what's the predecessor was St. Lawrence. He
At
said
St. Lawrence.
about what, 40 years?
Yeah. Yeah, he came from the county police department as the chief, and he
Do you
then
think
he
that'll
ran
be-
for sheriff and he won the seat.
Do you think that should be tenure?
No, I don't think there should be a limit on sheriff, because I would like to be sheriff as long as I can be, as long as I know I'm doing a good job and serving the citizens of Chatham County the way I'm supposed to serve them from that seat that they.
Well, the
faithfully
people
voted me.
answer that question every time there's an election.
Right.
The people make that judgment.
Right,
on you.
exactly. There you go.
So they
If you
make a
don't like
judgment.
me, vote me out.
That's what
That's
I'm
it.
going to say. The
Yes.
people would make that judgment. What is another question I want to ask you?
Yes, sir.
Is there a lot of money to be made being sheriff? Is there,
I think the sheriff's salary is set by the state
by the
legislators.
state?
Yes,
Of the
yes. So
city?
if he wants of the state,
Oh, the
state
state-
house,
oh,
yeah.
the
So
state
if he
said-
wants to lobby for a raise or anything, I think.
oh,
he
I
has to
didn't
go
know
there
that
and
was
lobby for
done
that.
by the state.
Right. Yes, sir.
Oh, that was done by the state. Let me ask you this then.
Yes.
Do you have any plans? I know we talked about the mental situation, but
Yes.
are there any other plans that, well, if I was sheriff, this is what I do, A, B, C, etc.
Yeah, improve jail conditions, improve community relations. I think as a taxpaying citizen, a resident of this county, you have a right to the sheriff's service. And you should be able to call the sheriff's department if you need to speak with a deputy, if you want a deputy or any representative of the sheriff's office to come to your functions, come to your events. You pay for that service. And so you have a right to the sheriff's office as a taxpaying citizen for the sheriff's service. And I just want to improve relations. We got to improve transparency, right? We've got to improve community engagement. You know, we have to improve all these necessary resources that taxpaying citizens who vote for that office are allocated to. That's what I want to do. You know, we have to address the crime issue that's going on from the sheriff's seat. The sheriff is the highest law enforcement officer in the county. And so, in other words, if we put it in layman's term, if all else fails you when it comes to crime, you should always have your sheriff's office. That's what that means. And so we want to play our part in assisting these local agencies in crime prevention efforts. And so these are the things that I'm focusing on, that I'm looking forward to and putting out front and serving the people of this county.
Now, I know the sheriff has a responsibility, but just tell us some of the things, as soon as you go hit on what it was I was thinking, what the sheriff does. Just tell us some of the sheriff's responsibilities.
Three primary functions of the sheriff, right?
Three primary functions?
Primary.
And what are they?
There's
Tell
a
us.
whole list, but we did three ones that we really focus on. That's courthouse security and county buildings, right? Jail administration, and they serve civil service, which is disposition.
So break those down.
Well, dispositions of the court, and anything that's coming out of the courthouse, coming out of the courtrooms, the sheriff is responsible for those services. The jail administration oversight, he's the chief jailer, as well as.
Well, just one moment, we're going to take a little break for a few moments, and we'll be right back. Now, I want you to keep talking. You got to kill up this time. You got about 15 minutes.
Yes, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here with Mr. Coleman. He's trying to make history here by busting this glass to become the first African-American sheriff in Chatham County. We've had 4 previous persons running for that office, and they were not successful. But he says he's going to break the glass and become the first African American sheriff in Chatham County. Okay, Mr. Coleman, we'll be back to you.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask you this, sir. What motivated you to really want to become a sheriff? You thought about this a long range person? I believe you say ever since you was a young man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ever since I was a child, I knew law enforcement was going to be my career path. And why not serve?
Also, isn't this one of the opportunities of the sheriff that they do and run responsibilities that they'll sit you if somebody take a warrant, if you didn't pay your rent or something like that?
Yeah,
The sheriff
right. They serve dispositions of the court.
disposition
Of the court. Yes, sir.
Disposition
That's the
warrants.
civil service piece.
That's the civil
that's
service.
the civil service piece. That
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I wonder what that service. That's the service
Right.
element
right.
of the
dispositions
sheriff.
of the warrant. Anything from court proceedings, even if it's civil dispositions, criminal dispositions, whatever dispositions of the court, that is the duty of the sheriff. Also, the sheriff is involved in sex offender registry. He's responsible for that.
Now, isn't it his position to make sure that the jail is clean, kept up to par?
Yes.
People who have medical problems, they have to see a doctor and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Is that his job to make sure?
He's the chief jailer of he or she, whoever the sheriff may be, is the chief jailer of the county. And so it is the duty of the sheriff to ensure that all the necessary steps in
Now, let me ask you a question.
guidelines are being followed.
In your opinion, is the African American clients, are they treated fair in that jail?
Now, I don't have any direct insight
Into it.
on how actually individuals are being treated. However, I just can speak from the point of being short-staffed that it's causing some problems as far as inmate oversight, which is the daily activities and the daily goings of the inmates.
Yes.
You have to be properly staffed to properly oversee people. And when you're short-staffed and you're not able to oversee, then you're going to have incidents that occur. And some also, lead to medical issues as well. So, we definitely want to improve on staffers.
Okay, let's look at the jail for a moment.
Yes.
Does the sheriff does he have an individual responsible to him that keep a watcher over the jail?
It's called the jail administrator. Yes, sir.
You have a jail administrator.
Jail administrator. Yes. Yes.
Is he African American or white? You don't know.
He's Caucasian. Man. He's
He's a Caucasian gentleman?
Yes.
What are some of the things you would like to improve with the jail when you get this position? You feel that you're going to win it, so you got to be optimistic.
Oh, morale is number
So,
one. Staffing is number two. We're definitely going to review policies and procedures. We're definitely going to review command. We'll review every aspect. You have to look into the contracts that are out there. We have to review these contracts to see if they're fruitful for the jail. And so it's just a lot of things that come into play as soon as you are elected. I mean, immediately they drop in your lap, and you've got to be prepared to have oversight over these things.
Okay, to have
Yes, sir.
oversight over that. Now, to your knowledge, do we have a nice amount of African Americans in positions in the jail?
On the command staff at the admin level.
What do you mean by the command staff?
The admin level, I think, is major or higher. The position of major or higher.
Uh-huh.
I believe there's.
Well, so you're telling me to get promoted or ranked?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh,
I
okay.
believe there's three majors on that command staff, probably about 7 or 8, maybe.
They're very
About 3
good.
majors. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So,
Yep.
I
It was
don't-
good. You say you've had experience being a police chief.
Yes, sir. I am a Georgia certified law enforcement executive.
Oh, a Georgia certified
Law enforcement executive.
law enforcement.
Yes, I can run a police department. I can run a sheriff's office.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, sir.
So where did you get that certification
Yeah,
from?
well, I got it from the Georgia Chiefs training. Yeah.
Georgia chief what?
Georgia's Chief Association.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. You had to go to school for
Yes,
that?
that's executive training for the Georgia Chiefs Association. Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes, sir.
So how many years you have under your belt as
30 years as a Georgia
30
peace
years? I believe you said 30 from the beginning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
30 years as a Georgia peace officer.
Oh, that's very good
So
to
we
hear
have the experience for the seat.
for the position.
Yes, sir.
And like I said over and over and over, That's the only piece of glass we had not broken. And I've been in the community here many, many years working. I'm going on 91. So I thank God for that. I don't
Yes.
hide that because I'm blessed.
Yes.
Not too many people in the faculties
That's
control
right.
themselves.
That's right.
They're 91 years old.
That's right.
But I want to ask you those things because that's very important. A lot of times people get into positions and they talk, but they don't show no action when they get in there.
Right.
And in that position, you have to be able to
Talk
take a
the talk and
stand.
walk the walk.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
And forget about the repercussions, but
Right.
you have to do that right. But like your previous guest, my guest said that when you sit where you were sitting,
Yes.
it just should like to be fair and just
Yes.
to all people.
That's correct.
And
That's
whether
correct.
it's in employment
Right.
or other positions
That's correct.
available,
That's correct. You want
you
to
know,
be fair. That's
you got
correct.
to be fair and
You want
just.
to be fair. Right.
Now, have you thought about this when you was a young man? I believe you say, "If I want to be a sheriff,"
Yes, sir.
well, at least you had
Yes,
already
sir.
chosen
Yes, I already chose my
yeah,
career path.
your career
I
path.
thank God for the opportunity to walk in it.
Yeah, but
Yes, I'm truly
yes,
grateful.
but we don't have a few more moments left, and
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna leave you to say whatever you want to say. In addition, about your campaign,
Yes, sir.
tell the people about your
Yes,
campaign.
sir.
I saw one of your signs over here on Lago and Tibet. Beautiful sign you have with your
Thank
picture on
you.
there.
Very
Very attractive sign.
you. Thank
I'm gonna be fair and honest. I've seen many signs, but
Yes.
I'll have to rate you by the day. It's a beautiful sign.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's really a beautiful
Thank you.
sign, and
Thank
that you
you.
have advertising for this position.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want the people to know, Mr. Thornton, that I am your next sheriff. I plan to be fair. I plan to be accountable. I plan to be transparent.
So
I
you just
plan
talk
to
to the
make-
community.
I plan to make the necessary change. Change is that
Wait,
you're
wait a
looking
minute.
for-
Hold that word change.
Yes, sir.
What is that word change you're going to make?
And
Other than you going to the position?
improve jail conditions.
Who what?
Improve jail conditions.
Wait a minute. Now,
Community
that's-
transparent
wait a minute. Hold it now. Improve jail
conditions.
conditions.
Yes.
So what are some of the conditions that's
Right
not-
now, there's some question marks in the community about visitation. You know.
Oh, what you
Yeah.
mean by visitation?
People
No,
want-
they
people
won't let the people see when they want to see them?
Exactly. They have now. They've gone to technology for visitation. One time, visitation was in person. Now they've gone to technology for visitation, and these things become very costly at some point. And so,
Wait a minute. On the technology, the only thing I know with the technology was with people.
satellite visitation.
Oh, I don't know about I know any of that.
Like we're doing now. This is how.
Give me an example.
Right,
Only thing I
like-
know from the old times, you go there in the jail, you put the phone to your ear.
No. It's,
So
it's just.
That's one thing I don't want to know about because I don't want to go to no jail. I'm just asking. I don't want to know about it. Only
Yes,
time I was in the jail for a speeding ticket when I worked for the company one time, I went out to the airport to pick up some packages
right.
because part of the machinery died at the Georgia Pacific Corporation. I was in the office type work, but I did pick up the mail and stuff like that. And I was speeding to Garden City because they told me to hurry back with the party because the machine was down.
Yes, sir.
And the police stopped me saying I was going 80 miles an hour, something like that. Well, so when I got to the jail, it was time to pay. I didn't have no money, $80 with me, whatever it was.
Right.
The man, they locked me up, and the man was very nice. We talked, waiting on the guy at the office to come and pick me and get in the
Right.
rescue and pay the fine. And here we, and by 5 o'clock, the man was so nice. We done talked about that happened about 3 o'clock.
Yes.
And we thought the man said, Mr. Thornton, now, it's just about my time to close. And do be going home. Oh my gosh. And then I had my 2 boys too. I was in a mess.
Mm.
But the lady I was going with, when married, she got my 2 boys from a previous marriage.
Right.
But she did that for me. And the man was so nice. And he had to put the handcuffs on me, man, to go from one building to the other on Aberson Street. I said to myself, I hope nobody don't see me. So I got into the jail.
Yes, sir.
These guys were playing cards, everybody was having a good time. I told the fella, I said, well, don't expect me to be too friendly with you because I won't be here long.
That's right. That's right.
So the conditions of the jail,
Yes, sir.
that's one of your means.
Community transparency.
So in other words, are you telling me then some things are going on in the community that in that jail that we don't know nothing about?
I'm hearing some things.
Huh?
I'm hearing some things. I can't say for sure. I don't
Oh,
want to
yeah,
put that
okay.
out. there
You
like
can't
that.
put that out.
Right. I don't
But
wanna do
you,
that.
but you have heard some
Right.
things
But
that
one
you,
thing I can say when I'm elected,
You change it.
it is what it is. Transparency. It is what it is.
Well, it ought to be transparent
Good,
to the
bad, or
community.
indifferent. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I was once told the same light that makes you shine is the same light that will show your blemishes.
Yeah.
And so it is what it is. It is. You've got
Because
to be
I believe in that
transparent.
transparency. I was put on a jury one time, and Judge Gadsden was handling that case of Superior Court. And after some man,
Yes.
a young man died in that jail,
Yes.
and the jury, when we were talking about it, we in the jury room, and I said, well, one thing we got to do is to give the police officer credit because he tried to save the young man's life.
Right.
He did try to do that.
Right.
And of course, when they found out that young man died from some other criminal condition, and I had to tell the judge that the decision we all came to, that it was nothing, nobody murdered him.
Right. Right.
And we honored the sheriff, not the sheriff, the person who gave the aid
Right.
to him in the jail. So when you talk about transparency,
Yes.
a lot of things go on in that jail that the community does not know about, which they
Correct.
should know. Is that what you
Yes,
mean?
that is correct. Yes, sir. That is correct. That is
Can
correct.
you give me an example? That,
Well, the number of deaths that occur.
yeah, that has been a
yes,
problem.
that has been
Why
a-
there's so many
long-
deaths in Chatham County Jail?
From what I see.
Yeah,
again,
I know you're
I'm
not
not
in there.
speaking
This-
factual because I'm not.
Not
in there.
factual. What you
Right,
think?
So I want to be fair with my information.
Oh yeah,
But when you have short staffing, you have short oversight. Short oversight causes internal problems because you can't supervise everybody all
That's true.
the time, and that's where that comes from.
so how many people usually work at the jail?
I'm not really sure on that would be something that I would have to go in there and look and
Investigate.
right, and talk to the jail administrator about.
Yeah.
Because I really don't know all the wings and the functions internally and what comes with that. But we would definitely sit down, get a number on what is and what's supposed to be.
Well, there's so much injustice going on against African Americans everywhere you turn.
Yes, sir.
So, and of course, I hate to see the jail keep filling up with African Americans.
Absolutely. Right.
Do they do any type of education process?
There's a lot
In the
of
jail?
there's a lot of
Yeah, you
what they
ever thought
call
about that?
programs. There's a lot of
Yeah.
programs.
Like what?
Educational programs, satellite programs too. I think one of my plans, if it's not going on right now, is to bring Savannah Tech out there, which is to bring their satellite school programs for diplomas, GEDs, and some other educational.
Well, when I
certifications
used to
that
work at
people
Savannah
can
Tech years and years ago, that we had a program with the jail. I do know that.
Yes,
And these guys, they were coming there with their jail uniforms on. Everybody respected them,
absolutely.
and they had a overseer there,
Mhm.
and these guys learned their trades.
Right.
So that I've already maintained in the penal system
Yes.
that they should train people.
Yes.
That's why you have the reversing door, revolving door, in and out, because these guys get out no training. All they do is sit up and then play cards and all day long. I'm not talking about these habitual killers that have to really serve their time. But most of the people in jail are not real hardcore criminals.
Right.
Basically, I guarantee it's about the drugs.
That's correct.
Would you say so?
I would say so.
What kind of what would you do with you, sheriff, and you got that problem of people coming in with the drugs? What would you
drug
do?
diversionary programs.
Huh?
Drug diversionary program.
Oh,
Yeah, we put them in place.
do they have that in the jail now?
Yeah, they have it now, and it works hand in hand with the courts as well. So it's a good program.
Oh, it
Yeah,
is?
it's a good situation they have.
Does it have any element of job placement on that program?
I don't know, but that's something that I would target.
Would you think about doing something like that?
Absolutely.
A lot of these men got out of jail, they right back in the street. What happened?
You
They
know,
right revolving door. They're right back in the same pipeline again.
you're right. One institution that I would like to start is the CARE program. It stands for Career and Rehabilitation Efforts Unit, to place people who are being released.
You know, I have to
in
make you
job
laugh. So we talked about the jail system because we almost through with your visitation here, but I'm gonna let you
situations.
close in a few minutes. But I remember one time this happened for real.
Mm,
It was a guy down in the jailhouse. He always in and out of there. So the man had a known problems, no question about that.
yes.
So the police people told him, so no, we can't keep you in jail no more, man. You've served your time. We got to release you. He said, but I don't have nowhere to go. You got to find somewhere to go, all that. And we can't keep you in jail. Now, I don't know whether it's true or not. So he went out of jail and took a break and broke out some with
Oh,
us,
goodness.
automobile with us. They can
So
arrest
they
him
can arrest
again.
him and see his KNJ.
Now that's true.
Yes.
So, but if these people have some kind of training and job placement, once we have determined that they are capable
Yes.
from mental testing,
Right. After being
then that's a good
evaluated.
program you
Yes,
would try
sir.
to implement.
Yes,
That's what
sir.
you're saying?
After being evaluated. Yes, sir.
But that's good.
Yes, sir.
I really enjoy you.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Rose.
So let you close out with a few more things you like to say and do and talk to the audiences. It has been a pleasure to talk to you and to hear you say you want to break that glass and be
Yes,
the
sir.
first African American
Yes, sir.
sheriff.
Yes, sir.
And before we close out, just tell your daddy I'll be praying for him and ask him
Absolutely,
about
I will.
and
Yes,
do
sir.
it. I know he was gonna come in tonight if he had gotten sick. I understood that.
Right. He
Yeah.
told me to take
So you're going to
care of
take the last few minutes, Mr. Coleman, and talk to my guests who listen to me every month.
Yes, sir. Again, my name is Richard Coleman. I'm running to be your next Chatham County Sheriff. I plan on giving you the service that you need, the service that you deserve. I believe that once I'm elected, I will be accountable to the people. That's through service and through transparency. You can always count on me. I will avail myself to you. But as I've always said, even in my motto says, I can't do this by myself. But with you and I together, we can. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Coleman. I do wish you much success.
Thank you.
Been a pleasure to have you on my program.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, Mr. Hall's program.
Yeah.
What are the people here?
Yes. Sir.
He's the wonderful man that the community
Yes, he
should be
is.
grateful to this man.
Yes, yes,
He's
he
taking a
is.
stand. Nobody else in Savannah
Yes,
is
he
doing
is.
it.
He's a good man.
I hate to say this, but I have to tell the truth. Nobody is talking to the people about the issues that we do in this program,
Right.
voting and whatever. And I want to tell everybody to vote.
Yeah.
That's essential to vote, and as if we never voted before.
Yes.
Nice to meet you again.
Likewise. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir, my pleasure.
Yes, sir.
And I hope you much success.
Thank you.
So be right back. Oh gosh, I have to take you on the phone. All right, ladies and gentlemen, back again. I'm having a nice night tonight with another excellent judge who is ready for office, and her name is Judge Crystal Harmon. Welcome to the show, Ms. Harmon.
Thank you, thank you.
Very attractive lady.
Thank you.
I'm happy to have you on the show.
I'm glad to be here.
I had a long talk with her yesterday. She and I talked about 4 to 5 hours yesterday, not only about judge things, but other matters that happen in our community and into this nation. So I'm happy to have you on my show.
Yes.
Over my show, I'll be the last contestant on the show here, my guest. I'm honored. Just tell us about yourself, Ms. Crystal.
Yes. Well, my name is Crystal Denise Harmon. I am
A little
originally.
louder, darling.
Yes.
I want everybody to hear you.
My name is Crystal Denise Harmon. I'm originally from Florida, DeLand, Florida. I graduated from FAMU Law School, so I am a proud Rattler. I initially moved here to Georgia a little over 12 years ago and started in Dougherty County as a prosecutor for the DA's office. And then I moved here to Savannah and I became a prosecutor here in Savannah. And my main court that I was assigned to was Recorder's Court and then later Superior Court. Currently, I am the chief judge in Garden City. I'm also the pro tem judge in Pooler and also a pro tem judge in Recorder's Court. And I am running for Recorder's Court.
Oh, we're very happy to have you here, Miss. May I call you Miss Crystal?
Yes,
Judge
you can.
Crystal?
Yes, you can.
All right, Judge, I call you Judge. Is that
You
all right?
can. You can.
All right, fine. I'm pleased to have you here.
Yeah, I'm so glad
to
to be
the
here.
show tonight. I had 3 fine contestants
Mm,
who are here tonight as my guests. I want to hope you will be very successful in your endeavor.
thank you.
But I want to ask you some questions that I want to see what your thinking is.
Okay.
Tell us, you give us a background about yourself, educational wise, or let the community know. And all my guests, I call all people that listen to me my guests.
Yes.
And I think a lot of them, and I think a lot of Mr. Julius Hall,
Oh, yes.
fine gentleman,
Yes.
a man that really let the community know. It's sad to say, but truthful. You know what I told you yesterday about the devil?
Yes. Yes, you did.
If I'm
Yes.
lying, the devil, I want to make the fight harder than
Yes.
he make it. But I'm telling the truth, Mr. Hall is really a fine gentleman. And I know I'm getting up in age and stuff like that. But I know this. I like to talk about him because he's the only one seen to be pushing out things into the community to make us a better people, a better community.
Mm.
And I praise him. I thank God for him. But now, Miss Krista, you told us about your educational background and everything. But tell me, what made you want to be a judge when you was a young girl
Mhm.
coming up? What motivated you? I mean, like I was telling you yesterday, Thurgood Marshall family thought he was going to go to middle school.
Right, right.
And he said, "Oh, I want to be a lawyer." So he writes for an application from the University of Maryland.
Mhm.
And of course, he got a reply back, and they told him up front they could not accept him because he was a Negro
Right,
in America.
Right.
Terrible. And of course, when he became famous, they wanted him to be the commencement speaker to their graduation. And he politely told them, "No. When I wanted to come to that school, law school, you refused to accept me." So tell us what motivated you want to be a judge,
yes,
a lawyer in the first place.
yes. Well, here's a funny story. I actually never wanted to be an attorney. I really only wanted to be 2 things growing up, and that was a doctor or a singer. And I can't sing worth a lick. Can't hold.
Well,
a
you want to
piano.
be a singer, you can't sing.
I just I wanted to be in front of people and just
Oh,
perform.
like you in front of me.
Yeah, yes. And I was terrible at math. So I went to college, UCF. I went to UCF and I had probably about 4 or 5 different majors. And
Trying to decide.
yeah, I couldn't decide. I was going to be an accountant, a historian. Finally, I decided on political science because I was at my 4 years and I said, I got to get out of this place. And I didn't know what I was going to do after I graduated. And my aunt, she's actually the one that encouraged me to go to law school and to go to FAMU. And when I got there, I was just very much an introvert. I thought I was going to be a transactional attorney, just in the office, sitting and writing paperwork, things like that, never in the courtroom. However, there were 2 main judges that I had a chance to interact with while I was at FAMU. And that's Judge Hubert Grimes and Judge Reginald Whitehead. And they encouraged me, and Judge Whitehead was my trial practice instructor. And he encouraged me during that class, and I learned that I had some skills as a trial attorney. So when I graduated law school, I decided I was going to be a trial attorney, and I found my way here to Georgia.
Uh-huh.
And, I was working as a prosecutor. I then, in 2017, went out on my own, started the Harmon Law Firm, and I was a criminal defense attorney, still am, criminal defense attorney, working as a public defender in Garden City. public defender and pooler, federal court doing defense work, and also private defense work. And I was approached by Judge Tomlinson and the city of Garden City, and they wanted to know if I was interested in becoming the next judge there.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, and it took me a while. I thought about it long and hard, and I decided that being a judge would allow me to continue on my work as a public defender in terms of working hard, making sure that everyone's receiving equal justice, and also making sure that the process was fair.
Okay, now let me ask you this question. Tell us, just like I did not know,
Mhm.
I do know I had one time to go to Recorder's Code. And that's you could take the position, hopefully,
Yes.
that Judge Harris had. Is that correct?
Yes, Judge Adele, yes.
Yeah, Mr. Odell had a friend of mine. Yeah, he's going to some other ventures. So that's the position you're aspiring for.
Yes.
So give us some of the duties of a judge in Recorder's Code.
Yes.
What does that code do?
Yes. Well, with Recorder's Court, for all of Savannah, unincorporated Chatham County, that's the main court that most people, if they got a speeding ticket, that they will come to. Recorder's Court also is the first court for misdemeanors and felonies. So most of those cases will start in Recorder's Court. So I would also handle bonds. I'll handle preliminary hearings, first appearances, things like that. Also
Now-
city ordinances.
Now I'm going to ask you some of the same things I asked Judge Katie.
Yes.
What's your view on bond? You recommend a person be bound over?
Mhm.
That's your job, right?
To be bound over
Bound
to the
over
next
to
court.
the next court.
Yes,
Is
yes.
that right? Am I right?
Yes.
So when I'm bound over to the next court, then it's up to the court whether or not bond will be extended to me, depending upon what the offense is.
Right. That's correct.
Is that correct?
Right.
But you just still tell me as an attorney and a judge, what is your view on bond? Because so many there's a movement right now in some states to cast a bond. A lot of times you have a person in jail over and over and over, got nobody to stand for a bond for them.
Mhm.
So what do?
Well, and just let me clarify a little something in terms of with the bonds. It's not only just a charge, because with Georgia, there's the code section OCGA 1761, and with that code section, there are certain felonies that Recorder's Court judge, municipal court judge cannot set a bond on. Only a superior court judge can set a bond on.
But you have to make the referral though.
Right. If there's probable cause, then that case will be bound over to the next court. Regarding any other cases that come before a judge, or as I'm currently in Garden City, there are certain factors that we look towards. One, whether or not individual is a risk to reoffend, whether or not individual is risk to community, risk to a victim, whether that individual is a flight risk. Also, in terms of whether or not an individual is a risk to reoffend, a judge will look at that individual's criminal history to determine.
Okay.
Yes.
So you do believe in some compassion and leniency. Is that
I
correct?
definitely do. Yes. And I definitely believe in following the law and making sure that each individual that comes before me, that they get that fair shot.
So can you tell me anything that happened in your life that went into, of course you did say you wouldn't know whether you wanted what you wanted to do, but since you achieved that objective, can you think of anything that might have happened in your life that really pushed you into that particular objective as a lawyer and as a judge?
I think in terms of just me deciding on this career path,
Yeah.
I think my background really made it possible that this is a great fit for me. I've always loved to read. I've always loved history. I've always was interested in the law, following the law in some way, shape, or form. And also, I was introduced, to the criminal justice field actually at an early age, because I was a victim of a burglary.
Oh, I didn't say that yesterday.
Yes, no.
So you're so pretty, so they had to try to steal you, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know about that.
But I wanted to be a judge. I wanted to be a lawyer, but I told you that, and I was discussing
Yes.
yesterday for about 3 hours,
Yes, about five.
that I wanted to be a criminal lawyer.
Yes.
That's I don't know how good I would have been.
I think
but-
you would have made a great one.
Well, I've had many people to tell me, I mean, good lawyers.
Yes, yes,
Because I read a lot. You got to be
Oh,
able to
yes,
read to be a
definitely.
good lawyer
yes.
and be able to express yourself.
Right.
Can't get up there in the court and say, well, I ain't this, that, and other, you know.
Exactly.
Messing up the verbs.
Right. You have to enunciate.
So your experience has been very rewarding to you, I know.
Yes, yes.
And let me ask you a question like this. I was speaking to Ms. Brewerson, and I was telling her about the system in, talked to me yesterday, I believe we did, in Jacksonville.
Mhm.
You remember we were talking about that yesterday?
Yes.
And that's before they sentence a person, then they analyze them, send them to psychiatrists, psychologists, and they try to look at their background, look at any medical problems. But most of the people in the jailhouse, 9 times out of 10, got mental problems. Don't you think so? A lot of them?
I do find that. to
And
be
so what
true.
Jacksonville does, as I was telling you yesterday, they take the person to get this person analyzed and check out, see whether or not they have a mental problem before they turn around and just throw them in the jail and your trial is such a date. But there's a problem. Then when that person get well enough, maybe they're in a position that you got to take into consideration that this mental problem, what caused this person to do that particular crime.
Right.
So the word judge means there's a great thinking in your part. You just can't jump up and say, okay, so.
Right.
You understand? That's my view.
Yes.
Now you take for instance, a man was saying on talking about TV yesterday and today, as a matter of fact, about all these people that attacked the Capitol, which they did.
Mhm.
You know, during January 6th when that
Yes.
happened. And the man was saying that some of these people may have mental problems. So what do you do with these kind of people? And they say that sentence them to 3 and 4 and 5 years in prison for doing what they did.
Right.
Because everybody now apologizes and say, well, I followed Mr. Trump, I did this, other, they didn't do no thinking because they didn't think what the results would be. But Jacksonville does have that program.
Mhm.
And I talked to some of the friends of mine who in city government. Nobody will implement that.
Mm.
Made me think they want people to be bad when they put them in the jail and lock them up. You got to try to help the person. That's why, as I told you yesterday, about my view on a person being a judge. And what you're thinking of when I told you about Jesus Christ, I don't have too much, I won't say respect, but I just don't care for a person being a judge and being a minister. That's my view. Because you represent Jesus Christ as a minister and as a judge. What would you think? How would you handle a situation like that?
Mm. Well, to speak on in terms of individuals with the mental health, I will say, and definitely in terms of my experience in Garden City, as well as a pro tem judge on Recorder's Court, I work very closely with the prosecutor, as well as the public defender or a defense attorney that comes into that court to determine whether or not this individual has had a past history of
Yeah.
any type of mental health or
Exactly.
anything going on. And we try to work on making sure these people get evaluations, whether it's in the jailhouse or whether or not they have a private counselor that can come in and do evaluations. So we definitely try to make sure everything is not perfect. We're working on trying to get a good system for these individuals that do have mental health issues, as well as those individuals that have drug-related issues, because that's also a major problem in the jails as well. A lot of people, the crimes are committed because they are, in fact, on drugs.
You know, I had Mr. Julius Hall on the show one night, a month before last, right? And his book, I'm still reading it, is very extraordinary. I mean, that is some book. He's a powerful man. But the drug situation, I was shocked that he was telling me so many officers are bringing drugs into the jailhouse. That's the experience he's seen for his own self.
It's unfortunate.
So if you were the judge and you know that was going on in your district in which you were running for office,
Mhm.
and you're the judge representing the whole county,
Mhm.
what would you do with that?
Well, in terms of individuals that are charged with whether or not they are working in the jailhouse and they're supplying inmates with drugs, drugs, if they are charged with that, of course, I'm looking at it initially, they are innocent until proven guilty. And when it comes to my court, my determination is going to be one, whether or not that individual can get bond or should get bond. And then also whether or not there's enough probable cause to see whether or not this case will go on to, say, Superior Court, because that would be a felony charge.
Okay, let me ask you this question now, Ms. Harmon,
Mhm.
Judge Harmon.
Yes.
Have you seen anything in your experience as you're serving a judge in Chatham County, if you get to that position, be looking successful enough to be on that bench? Have you seen anything you'd like to see change in recorder scope that you would let the public know?
Well, I will say this. When I started back 10 years ago, I started as a recorder's court prosecutor. And then I went to the recorder's court handling the felonies. I was handling misdemeanors first, felonies, and then later, of course, I went on to Superior Court. And then now also I sit as a pro tem judge. There are a lot of things that have changed. I think especially with COVID has brought where we do a lot of things virtually in terms of with the inmates is easier. Oftentimes, sometimes there's some technical difficulties, but it's easier for us to have certain hearings, arraignments with the jailhouse. I want to continue to work with the jail so that we can make it not only easier on the sheriff deputies that are handling court there, but also on our court personnel in recorder's court. So that would be one thing. Then also just continuing to strive to improve treatment for the people that have that mental health diagnosis or any type of drug addictions, making sure that we can catch that fairly quickly and making sure that those individuals can get that evaluations. And then also if we're setting bond conditions to make sure that we hold individuals accountable and that they come back to court, their statuses, and they show that, okay, you were supposed to get a drug and alcohol evaluation within 72 hours or within 2 weeks. Where's the evaluation? Did you do that? If not, do you have a valid excuse why you didn't do that?
Well, since you've been a judge and you're aspiring for that court, the recorder's court.
Yes.
Have you seen any kind of changes you would like to make if you get into that position? Since you're already in the arena, you're already in the arena as a judge in Chatham County.
Right.
So I know you've had some kind of relationship with that court.
Right.
So have you seen anything? Tell us some things you would like to change if you.
The biggest for me with recorder's court, I want to make sure that everything is transparent. And what I mean by that is a lot of times when individuals come into court, sometimes that might be the first time that they've ever been in court. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what to expect. They don't understand what this hearing is. They don't know what most lay people do not know what a first appearance is. Most lay people do not know what a disposition is, or if I find you guilty, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And some people are just like, hey, it's just no insurance. I just want to plead guilty to this. And they don't understand the ramifications of that. So I want to make sure that when individuals come into my courtroom, that everything is completely transparent, that I have explained to them certain, mainly first and foremost, their rights and what they are giving up if they're entering a guilty plea, but also they understand the process and what to expect next.
Well, tell us anything you want to tell us about yourself. It's time for us to take a little break right now for a moment, and we're so happy to have Judge Christian.
Yeah.
So we're going to be right back in just a few moments.
Yes.
Transformative. That's what Sonia Jackson is. Creative. That's what Sonia Jackson is. Compassionate. That's what Sonia Jackson is. Leadership. That's what Sonia Jackson demonstrates. Dedicated. That's what Sonia Jackson is. In Chatham County, there's never been a tax commissioner like Sonia Jackson. She has made the office more accessible, more consistent, more convenient, and more service-friendly. Let's keep Sonia Jackson while she takes the tax commissioner's office to new heights. On May 21st, cast your vote for a great public servant. Vote Sonia Jackson.
Hello, I'm Richard Coleman, and I'm running for the office of Sheriff of Chatham County. And when I'm elected, I promise to inspect what I expect. Chatham County, it's time for a change, and that change is me, Richard Coleman.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're back on with the show with this nice lady, Judge Harmon. Judge, I'm going to let you take the next few minutes to tell them to wrap this thing up tonight, to tell us why we should vote for you, and just go right on talk.
Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for spending First and foremost, thank you so much for spending your Saturday evening here, listening to me and listening to my campaign and what I hope to bring to Recorder's Court. As I stated before, my name is Crystal Denise Harmon. I am running for Recorder's Court. I'm currently the Chief Judge in Garden City, Pro Tem Judge in Pooler, and as well as a Pro Tem Judge in Recorder's Court. When I started here in Savannah, I started in Recorder's Court and currently sitting on the bench in Recorder's Court. I just continue to wish to bring transparency, making sure that the process is fair and just for each and every person that comes into the courtroom. I understand that everyone that comes into the courtroom, they might not be happy exactly with what the outcome is, but the main thing that I want to make sure is that they will know that the process was fair. So please remember Crystal Denise Harmon for Recorder's Court this May 21st. Thank you.
All right, we'll wrap up this month, ladies and gentlemen. We're so pleased that we've had some wonderful guests on the show tonight. And I just want to let us know this. We must continue to vote, participate in our community, because why? They're trying to whitewash everything in history. And next month, show I'll probably have one or two persons on, but I'm going to spend the rest of the time bringing us to May 17th, 1954. That's what I want y'all to read, get on the internet, ask what happened May 17, 1954. I call it the Second Emancipation. So with that, I want to say thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you next month, and have a blessed weekend, and God bless you.
I like that.